Hi, ladies. Hello, again, new face. Well, new to the screen of the Heart and Soul audience. Hello, ladies. How are you today? Oh gosh, I'll
Good,
introduce
good.
yourself.
You excited?
I'm great.
Yes. So we can start with Camille. You introduce yourself because you're the guest here this morning.
Oh
She's
gosh,
a
give
newbie.
me a heads up. So I'm Camille
Yes.
Macmillan Rambarat, and I'm here to join you, lovely ladies. And hopefully,
Nice.
you guys won't get me in trouble, Miss Bonnet.
Always will be in trouble on this article. Yeah. Yes, you will see. Oh, nice to have you, honey.
Thank you,
Giselle,
thank
behave.
you. I will.
I'm behaving.
Who's next? Who's next?
Let's go with the superstar. Let's
With the
go with coming
superstar?
off
Oh,
of a
yes,
very
it is.
successful event.
Hi,
Yes, congratulations,
ah,
Bonnet. She can hear us.
Hi guys, One Big Fun here.
Okay.
Happy to be here as per normal.
Nice.
I'm so proud of
Giselle?
Bonnet. So I just had to say that. And of course, I'm Giselle. They say I'm the hot mouth. Camille, don't get caught, eh? Don't. I just I just say what most people would think
Yeah.
and don't want nobody to know they would say.
Mm-hmm. And Lisa, all the way in London here, the usual blogging, being Lisa Love, the regular, just trying to do it, ladies. The topic for today.
Drum roll, please.
Colorism and its
Okay.
effects in
Okay.
TNT. So, we have a nice balance here today, so we can talk from either side
You
because
mean
we
the
would have
Red Women's
experienced,
Association is out numbered today? Yes, you have a
we would
nice
have
balance.
we would have experienced different sides of it. I mean, recently I think it's Basketball Wives. One of their episodes had issues with colorism.
Yes.
So I think it's very much still alive. I don't know what you ladies, if you want to chime in on your experience or like, what you're thinking.
I'm the
Wanna-
guest. So,
Yeah.
Bonnet, you go and
Yes,
I will take your lead.
Hmm.
I'm intrigued.
yes, me too.
I mean, it's for me always existed. For me, it's always existed. I have had many experiences with it. Sometimes right within my little family unit. I had a
It
grandmother,
always
very
start
very
there.
fair skin, and she had a mix of grandchildren. But I always saw that some sort of preference given to
Hmm.
one of my cousins who I would say was the fairest of them all.
Hmm.
So I saw it even in the home. As a child, I didn't even realize what it was. I thought, well, she probably just like she
Hmm.
I don't know, she probably, but I realized afterward that is what it really was. She had this preference for my cousin who was fairer and had a softer hair and whatnot.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I guess she was having her own little issue there, but it still exists very much. So I'm not going to even remotely try and say that we are past that. It exists. It is what it doesn't affect me as much as it used before. It's there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
Giselle?
My take on it is that I understood it early through personal
Hmm.
experiences, just like Vonette is saying. Um, I embraced it. I addressed it. In certain situations, it worked in my favor, and in certain situations, it did not. I
Hmm.
grew up in a family where my father is of a darker tone. My mother was the red woman, so to speak. And my mother and my aunt both worked for the local commercial banks when they left
Hmm.
school. And we were painfully reminded that they were only selected to work in the commercial banks because of their color, right?
Wow.
It depends on when you were born and circumstances in which you were born into.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was also an avid Caribbean history student, and I understood that it was way before our time. And so when our then slave masters would have had
Right.
sexual relations with slaves,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
children immediately became different. And so the feeling of elitism because your skin tones are lighter is way beyond my time.
Yeah.
Have I been against it? No, because I understand society and
Yeah.
its practice society is unfair. So that's why I say at times I use it to my advantage. And at times I'm like, okay, I think this is unfair. Or I say things like, if that person was of a darker hue, they would not have been
Mm-hmm.
carrying on like that. I say the
Yeah.
same thing
Yeah.
conversely with my red girlfriends. And some of them have told to your face, if you were of a darker skin, he wouldn't take you on. I'm telling
Mm.
you, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there is some leverage. I watched television programs up to last night, a local program. I said she would not be here. She was not that color because there's a
Yeah.
visible void between both ears. But
Mm-hmm.
for visual appeal, that person is on the
Fits the
show.
part.
But
Yeah.
she's not necessarily intelligent.
Best for the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Camille.
Okay, so my story is basically the same as Giselle's and Vonnet. But Giselle, I want to take you back to the slave master and having sexual relations with our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
They were raped.
Yes. They were.
Let's not dress it up. Because of dressing
Mm-hmm.
up these
True.
things, we are neglecting the
Mm.
past and we will continue with it
Mm-hmm.
going
Yeah.
forward, right? For me, yes, same. My dad is dark skinned, he's now passed. And my mom, very light. So my family it's a rainbow,
Yeah.
basically.
That's like
And
me. Yeah.
from very young, starting from home, that's where you begin to notice it, right? um I was basically the black sheep because I was the darker of my brothers,
Mm.
and I got teased, you got picked on, and I'm not blaming it on my brothers. We were young and kids, and it was learned behavior.
Behavior. Yeah.
Right. So that was it. So then you start to get smaller as a child with your complexion. My cousin,
Mm.
who Bonnet knows very well, is very high color, they used to say, and with the soft hair. So I saw the difference, whether it was conscious or
Yeah.
unconscious
Yeah.
bias, when she came home, how differently she was embraced. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw it
Yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
and going to a Catholic school, that's a whole different story. You
Oh
saw
yeah.
that it was, just sitting in a classroom and speaking about slaves and, one tone is up
Who was?
here and
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah.
Dating, red men, Paul. Um, you just saw it like people would
Mm.
not accept you because the color of your skin, because they don't want any nappy head black children. That
Mm.
was it, right? Make sure and get, and even family would say,
Yeah.
make sure and get, put some milk in your coffee. Make
Mm.
sure you, right? Delayed for school,
Honey,
delayed
is
for
the
school,
late for
Yeah.
school?
Yeah.
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 delayed for school, right? So all those things to me, it's only now I realize how it affected me,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm stronger because of it,
Right.
because my
Amen.
eyes
Yeah.
have been opened, right? And this is why I speak about these things, because I
Yeah.
don't want our generation, this generation coming up, to have to deal
Coming
with
up.
that.
Yeah.
It's wrong, and we need to face it and correct it. Well, acknowledge, correct, and move
Mm-hmm.
on, because we don't want the next generation and generations to come to have to
I
navigate
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
through.
It's an interesting one because with my immediate family, my mom had 5 kids and 3 girls. So I have a sister that's fairer than me. I have a sister that's darker than me, and I'm in the middle. But my dad is red skinned, and apparently his father, which is my grandfather, was more white than red.
Mhm.
And in our family, my darker sister was preferred. I used to remember I wanted to be darker.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. I in school I used to see it. I used to be like, I wish I was darker. So
So I
it was almost like the opposite for me. But at the
I
Opposite.
find
same
that so
time,
strange.
Yeah, but at
Yes,
the same
that's
time,
yes.
I didn't feel like I was treated differently from, like, say, my siblings because of that. It was more, I don't know, my sister always had a way that she could twist my mother to get her to do anything that we couldn't do. But, it's a difference in me. So I feel like I didn't see it in the same way that everybody else saw it, but I know it exists because I heard about it. So maybe my time or my experience or where I grew up, it wasn't that kind of exposure for me as most people that I know of, because I've heard girlfriends talk about it within their family. Because one of my cousins, she's really red skinned. She's like red, fairer than Giselle.
Yeah.
And
Oh gosh.
a lot of guys used to be, a lot of guys used to be like, but they were older than me. So it was like, oh, well, they're older. So obviously boys would like them more and whatever, whatever. But it was never a competition.
I think that colors our perception of what we think is beautiful. When you're younger and you're
Mm,
watching that kind of reaction to someone who is
probably.
older. Funny thing is, growing up, I mean, and I heard Camille talk about a Catholic school. I went to a private
Uh,
Catholic
I
school
went to a
at
Catholic school
primary
too.
level, and then I went on to a Catholic secondary school, all
Yeah.
girls school. In the beginning, naive maybe, I really didn't. I wasn't on who black and who not black and who
No.
dark and who. And I had an experience. I still remember the girl to this day. Um, and I was very close friends with what we call a local white or Trinidad white hair.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have the firm belief we don't have no white hair, right? We don't.
Oh
Unless
no.
you're looking for like the British High Commission or something, I don't really think you're
Something.
white.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always wondered growing up, really, I didn't know I was black, so to speak. Like it wasn't a discussion.
Right.
And
It
then
was a
one day I went to
discussion.
school
Yeah.
and this girl said to me, I will never forget it. I was playing with my white friend and she said, no matter how I look, don't play with her because the blackness will rub off on you. That's the
Oh
first time
wow.
I actually felt
Felt
I
that's,
felt
yeah, that
dark. I
prejudice.
felt. And so as I said, remember the parallel in my home.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
were the preferred tone of the island, right?
Yes.
In my
Yeah.
home, right? And so, yeah, for me, it colored my perception of beauty. Hair was definitely a thing for me too,
Mm-hmm.
because you hear that all the time. I was punished by cutting off
Bonnet,
my hair so
you
that my
know,
hair could look black, I suppose.
different. Yeah.
I don't
For
know.
me, maybe because we grew up in town, but I think in now Bonnet, I don't know if Camille, if you grew up in South, because you said you all know each other from back. Was it different in South, or do you feel like that made a difference in terms of geographically, if it made a difference to town?
Me or Bonnet?
Bonnet or you, whichever, yeah.
I wouldn't say it was far different. I think the
Mm,
experiences were similar. Um,
mm,
as I said, I mean, I had parents, especially my father, who I guess maybe his idea or his knowledge of the society was like kind of he kind of wanted to prepare me for what he thought I would have to deal with. So when
mm.
I tell people that my father was always kind of prodding me and pushing me and telling me about how beautiful I am, how lovely my skin is, how gosh
Wow.
the teeth so beautiful, and and I think it
You
was him
see? So it's like a
preparing
foresight.
me for the fact that he knew to deal with the opposite out in the public. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. But
But I
I mean,
think
That's
that
I don't think it
that
powerful.
was different in South or I don't know.
but
Yeah,
I
Camille,
think
you're away, you're in Canada.
maybe.
Right.
Yes, yes, I am. Yes,
Well,
I
I'm in
am.
London. You're in I thought I was the only import, but like I keep getting competition inside of here.
And so we
Yes,
will
I
steer
am.
clear of the location of our guest
Yes.
at this time.
So let me bring back. So
Yeah.
Lisa, you said your mother always embraced the darker one. Yeah?
Yes.
Your mom was the darker. Your dad was the light skinned one.
Hmm.
My mom, she wasn't very dark. She
Okay.
was more my complexion.
Well,
But
dark,
my
but your
sister
dad
came
was
out
the
darker
red
because
man.
You see,
their dad is
you'll see
darker.
a typical example there, right? My
Yeah.
mom wasn't very dark.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
She was
She,
exactly.
because
dark.
you said darker. So I was just
Well,
differentiating because she wasn't. Yeah, when you see her, she was like my complexion.
right. So maybe your mom again knew why she was embracing your darker
Yeah.
sister, right? Because
Like
she
what
knew
Bonet's dad did, probably.
Yep.
exactly. And
Yep.
same with my
True.
dad. My dad told me how
Yeah.
beautiful,
True.
my God. But he never said beautiful black woman or beautiful for black woman. He used to
Mm-hmm.
say, God, you're
You're just
beautiful.
gorgeous.
He
That's
would,
so
right? He
nice.
would just say that. So I only remember my dad and um my godmother, the Bells, Angela Bell. I get an emotional for this. God, when you get to always
Oh.
cry for everything. She always told me, look at my beautiful goddaughter, my goddaughter.
Mm.
She
Oh
always, do
gosh.
you know how pretty you are? And to this day, she would remind me, do you remember when I asked you how pretty you, if you knew how pretty you were? And you would always say, my daddy told me I am, right?
Oh.
And
Oh,
So
so
we have some great fathers to
yeah, oh
thank
yeah, he
for that
was
that
amazing.
balance and
Yeah,
boosting us,
yeah.
isn't it?
So that
Yeah.
balance, and even within my family, the boys, and this is outside my brothers, they all dated red women. They all
Mm.
married, right? So again, it is, and it's not, I wouldn't blame them. I'm not blaming anyone or pointing fingers. Even within my marriage, even within my marriage, people, it's one thing to marry a black person, black
Mm-hmm.
in Afro Trinidadian, but the paper bag test, I'm way off that chart. So of course, right, I'm way off.
Yeah.
But I have learned, really, I have come to a place where it is, I just embrace it. I love
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And the fact that a lot of moms will meet me when I'm out with my husband, and they would come up and they would say, Minister, Minister, I love you, I love you, but it's your wife I really want to meet. You know what every mother would say to me?
Yeah.
Mrs. Ragran, my daughter's your complexion and she just loves you. And everything. So
Oh.
I realized that was me, that little
Yeah.
black child growing
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
obviously seeing this person. So I decided, you know what? I want every little black boy and girl to
I
realize
feel that.
that how much we are. We are not
Yeah.
what history taught us.
you are
We are
Definitely.
not
possible.
what
But
society
ladies,
expects of
bef-
us.
before I have to cut anybody, but we have to get to the cold hard facts.
Mhm.
Cold hard
When we start to talk, how we just get into the conversation. It's so nice, but we have to get to the cold hard facts because yeah. So what we doing? What we doing? Who going first? Let me hear all this. Come on,
Bonnet, you have one? Why am I
Bonnet.
going first?
I want to go first.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go.
we are not. You're not nice for a black girl. You're
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Definitely. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take several bows.
Yes.
Yep.
Several bows on that one.
And so the pain in your face, the anger.
So I'll go next. I'll say to men, I
Yes.
love to help out the
Yes.
fellas. Well, you're not walking around with no label. I don't know which one is a good one and which one is a bad one. However, I am also not walking around with a bag of chances. So watch yourself.
You see, bag of chances.
Just
Camille.
I'm
You see,
still
bag
trying
of
to
chances.
process that.
I
There's
know,
not got
right?
to be some
Bag
code
of
that.
chances.
Okay.
Camille, let's hear from you, my darling.
Um, I am not. God, I have so many things. I have to be careful. Okay, so as Bonnet said, really have to process.
I
As
love it.
Bonnet said, I am not pretty for a black woman, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ugly and black. You know what I mean? They always
Mm.
say she's so ugly and black, or you're pretty for a
Yes.
black woman.
Using those.
Those two.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is for the online crew because we seem to spend a lot more time online these days. Be careful who you're idolizing online because some of them ain't even pay the April rent yet.
Oh God,
Don't get
stop.
tired.
You're not going to chill out today, are you?
So, ladies, thank you very much for that episode of Heart and Soul. It was a lovely one.
No, this was good.
I
This was
love all you. Like, love, follow, share, Heart and Soul.